No offense, LLC. The LLC stand for business. Yeah. It's no offense, yeah, we going in. Who we got on the show today? Might as well go tag a couple friends. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to blow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. We're trying to get to know it then. Gain support from those that view and wanna see you win. We got the website, magazine, and radio. Be back up soon. Trying to put you in the spotlight so that you can tell your truth. Yeah, it's no offense to you and me. Ain't trying to sell no image. I want you to come on through and live your life the way you live it. What you say, you on your way. Shine so bright, they gotta see you. Pave your way and go be great. Make us say now, believers. Hey, it's no offense. Yeah, we going in. Who we got on the show today? Might as well go tag a couple friends. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to blow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. Hey, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to blow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. Hey, it's no offense. Now y'all hit that share button, man. Tap in. Special thank you to the guest of the show. We are back. Hey guys, listen, we got a very special episode for you guys tonight. Do me a favor before we even hop into this. Hit the share button. Hit the share button again. And then if you think you might have missed it, it's okay if you hit it again. I promise they're not charging, at least for the next 2 minutes. Do it. I promise you. You're good. And here's this. I'll double down on that. If they charge you for hitting the share button in the next 2 minutes, right? Hell, we'll make it 3. Send me the receipt. I'll cover it. All right. But you got to do it. You got to do it. It's the No Offense Podcast. I know yet. Thank you for everybody who tuned into our interview earlier with Dejan. So we've got another treat for you guys. If you caught our interview last month with Daphne Minks of High Stakes University, you're in luck because she's back on the platform. And today we want to bring something to your attention. So again, hit the share button before we even start bringing all this to the table. I guarantee you're going to get in the comment section. So get your fingers warmed up. You could do that by hitting the share button. See, I'm not trying to waste your time at all. Hit the share button. Did I say that? How many times? It's almost like somebody bet me to say hit the share button a couple times or something like that. Help me win, y'all. I'm trying to help y'all win. You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about Stalking Awareness Month, but I wanted to make sure that we have some context and we can have an actual conversation. So like I said, we've got Miss Daphne Minks on the show, and we can't wait to have a conversation with y'all. Hit it one more time and then put your hands together. Help me bring Miss Daphne Minks onto the stage so we can kick this thing off, y'all. Happy Saturday. So here we go. 1, 2. I think I hear the clapping already. Here we go. Miss Daphne Minks.
Hi, how are you? I'm great. Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much for definitely open the door for that conversation, for the conversation that we're gonna have tonight, bringing this to our attention. Again, we were just talking about before, I didn't know that January had this history behind it that we should make others aware of, for sure, because it's such a crazy topic, and there's so many people think that think they know about it versus some of the information I was able to find on it. And I'm like, why isn't this more popular information? Like, why don't we know this? Why don't we know are aware of these things? And to all the victims that have to endure this, now that we're aware of your struggle, we're sorry. You know what I'm saying? We're sorry that you have to do that, have to go through that. We're gonna know more about your struggle today, so it can be empathized. Hopefully we can get some understanding for those who might be going through, what I'm saying, and maybe even some assistance with dealing with these complicated issues, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on, because I mean, honestly, I like we talked about before, I didn't even know that there was a Stalking Awareness Month, and I've been dealing with this for 35 years. This person has been harassing me, or whatever, the other words you want to use, other than driving me crazy, for 35 years. I didn't even know this thing was, a thing. So yeah, this is going to be a really interesting conversation. I'm excited to help some folks that maybe are having some issues, and help some other folks maybe understand some of the big time misconceptions about what it means to be stalked and stalking. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's definitely do it. Shout out to Sean Alexander. Appreciate you for tapping in, brother. So yeah, let's get into this. 35 years, man. that he made a career out of this thing. This is crazy.
It's actually a female, and that's
No,
another big misconception. Whenever I
what?
say I've been stalked, yeah, as soon as like say that, people immediately picture some guy in like a ski mask, like this kind of thing.
Valid,
This
valid.
was Yeah, it's a family member. It's a woman. And she just, I mean, I hate to say it this way, she just wishes I wasn't breathing and has made that very clear over the years. So it's very much something right at the forefront of my life. And it kind of just, after so much time of living underground and working cash jobs, I changed my name. I moved thousands of times. And eventually, you kind of just get to the point where it's like, you know what? If you're going to take me out, you're just going to have to do it because I can't live like this anymore. And so that's what I did. And I can't speak for anybody else's experience. It has definitely curtailed it. Me stepping out of the shadows has really saved my life, honestly. I mean, I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care what you think anymore. I'm going to live my life. So that's kind of where I'm at now in my life with that. So yeah,
Well,
there you go.
good for you. Yeah, definitely. I can't imagine. I mean, it's almost like you're in prison to have to like try to, you know what I'm saying, letting somebody else dictate your life to the point where
Yep.
you're trying to do things to avoid this outcome when you should be able to live free. So if we
Yeah.
can I always say let's start from the beginning. How did is this, like you said, this is a family member? Was this like from birth, or like was there a situation that kind of like took place that I guess just kicked everything off? Or could you explain to us, like, when did you notice that this was happening or taking place? Um,
Yeah, it actually started when I was I'm 48 now, just to put like some, age
no.
context in there. So yeah, 48. I turn 49 this year, so I'm hitting that big 50.
What?
I'm getting there.
Nah,
Yeah, I'm getting there.
wouldn't give me that. Wouldn't give me that at all. Okay, we'll let you pass.
Well, thank you. Awesome.
That's crazy. That's
Super
wild.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely a young spirit. I still feel like I'm 20. Like honestly, I really do. And maybe that's the trauma. Like I don't know, maybe.
Hey,
But
hey.
this whole thing started way back when I was 14. And I started noticing stuff. Like it sounds crazy, but if you've ever seen that movie, The Truman Show,
Yeah,
where he doesn't know he's on TV, that was kind of the feeling I always had, was like, it just always felt like I wasn't, it sounds so weird, but like I wasn't alone.
that's what I
And
was
a
watching.
lot of,
Rockwell.
yeah, it was weird. And I would tell friends and they'd be like, you're just paranoid. And like I told you in the last time we spoke, the word stalking was relatively new. I mean, it just became a crime in the early 90s. Like people think like, oh, this has been a crime since way back. Not really. It's relatively new in the sense of like, crime,
Mhm.
right? So that's how it kind of started. Was I would notice a car that would kind of follow me a little too closely when I was walking to the store, but again, it wasn't really taken seriously. And it really didn't matter who I told. Like nobody seemed to, for lack of better words, believe me. Right. And then as I got older, around 18, 19, got my own place, I noticed like I would throw things in the trash and
Mhm.
then those things would show up on my doorstep. Like it was really strange. Like I had thrown out a box of really old pictures, just dumb stuff like I had taken, on some roll, this is how old I am, on a roll of film, disposable camera. And those pictures would then
Okay.
show up on my doorstep. And so it was
Wow.
weird stuff. Yeah, it was real creepy. Then it started getting where things in my house started moving around. So like I knew that I had put something, in this specific place. I would leave the house, come back, and the thing would be somewhere else. And so I started questioning my own sanity.
Right.
And
Like
then it
gaslighting you. It's
Oh,
crazy.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, yeah, you called it. That's it. Gaslighting. And again, that really wasn't even a word until recently anyway. Now everybody uses
Right.
it, almost too much, right?
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
do.
that's pretty much how it started. And then it just escalated year after year after year after year. So yeah, that's my beginning of my tale. Yeah.
It's crazy because, um I know for the younger crowd, like I'm 34. I'll be 35 this year. For what I mean by people like who were maybe born in after the iPhone boom, like who've never imagined life without technology, you got to
Yep.
go back to like the 90s where we didn't have the first color cell phone. I don't think came out around till about 93, something like that, right?
Yeah,
So
like there was nothing like that. Yeah.
we didn't have the access to the internet. Like Google Maps wasn't a thing. So for when a
Mm-mm.
person like to think that a person was stalking you, they were dedicated. They had, you know what I'm saying? They had to actually like be spending time
Yep.
watching you. They had to be outside. It wasn't like easily accessible information. Like I can't like
Yep.
Google you and that and so you started noticing these things. You're questioning your sandwich, rightfully so. Like I mean, I would imagine, especially if it's
Yeah.
happening frequently. You're telling people, and are they just are they? I would imagine if they can't understand, people tend to ridicule what they can't understand. They think you're crazy, or they are they just not taking it seriously. They dismiss it, or do they feel like it's this old story again, or what are the reactions that you're getting? As you're trying to let them know that this is really something that's happening. It's not, obviously you got to be in fear if you're actually mentioning it to other people after already questioning your own Sandy. So what are the reactions that you're getting as you
Yeah.
try to make them aware?
That's That's a loaded question because still to this day, after
Mm,
all these years, I almost will go to, there's probably a handful of family members that even believe that this has ever happened to me. And it wasn't until law enforcement got involved and actually had to start questioning family members that a few said, I'm really sorry. I really did not believe you. I thought you were just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I mean? And it's offensive and it hurts,
yeah.
because it's like I'm the victim here. So to bring it back to your question, um, it became this situation where, okay, my first job was at a gym, Bally's Total Fitness, which doesn't even exist anymore.
Alex took me
Um,
back. Gotcha.
yeah, I know, right? It's so old school, right? I was the receptionist. And so this person did everything they could to get me fired. They would call and make complaints. And again, like you said, there was no internet. So, like, all we had was caller ID. And back then, you could star
Star
69 or
69.
whatever it was, and you could block the number or maybe call the number back. Or that was about the limit that you could do if somebody was bothering you on the phone, is unplug your phone,
Mm,
call the phone company, but if it's a business line, you don't really have a lot of action you can take. And so they got me fired. And I ended up having to get jobs that weren't really jobs I wanted. It took me down some dark paths, some not so savory jobs,
right.
but you got to make a living. And that's
Right.
basically what happened. So I got pushed underground, which made my credibility even less,
God,
especially when you're from the deep South, religious folks. No offense to anybody, but
I understand.
I
We do
started,
understand.
yeah, you all get it, right? So I became I'm trying to think of a nice word
Black
here
sheep.
that's not, yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I wasn't invited to my grandfather's funeral kind of stuff because I'll just say it, the crazy stripper was going to show up, like
Mm,
that kind of thing. And it was hurtful. And it launched into this whole like bad relationships, just a dark road. And when no one believes you and you don't have that support system,
it's like you
it'll
versus the
drive you
world.
craady. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It totally, you nailed it. You nailed it. It was me against the world. And it was this weird, like enigmatic figure that I had no idea who this person was. And little did I know this person was involved in my life. And I'm telling the person my problems.
And they're doing
And
it to you.
oh yeah, and she's soaking in all the information. I'm like, so I got this job, and I'm going to be able to, get the, I was a receptionist, and I was so excited. And then it was like 2 weeks later, magically, I got fired again. And I'm like, how does this person keep finding me? Because I didn't know, and I'm sharing all this stuff with this person, and they're using it against me. You know what I mean?
Shout out to this is not a funny cause for you. I'm sorry. Shout out to press speech from the High
It
Council.
is
That's
funny.
him.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
why the
I
sheep gotta
like
be
it.
black?
It's cute.
Yeah, he's a joke. She's a
Oh,
joker.
I get it. It's totally fine. I got the humor in it totally, completely. But yeah, but I do want to say this on that
Mhm.
issue. I have to say that the only community that welcomed me with open arms, I was taken care of by the Black community. The woman who raised me, I will say that, thank you. You know what I mean? So I will say love knows no color, no anything like that, because the only people that supported me were people of color. And so I do appreciate your comment, but just so you know,
Yeah,
I
he's
have so much love for, because that's, I honestly don't think I'd be here if this
no.
family did not take me in. That is the truth, because my family shunned me completely and it was sad, really, honestly.
So,
So yeah, I just had to mention that, but I get the joke, but yeah,
no, 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 no,
it's a
no.
subject close to my heart.
No, here's the thing. So no, you're completely fine. The thing is, I know him, and he is dying laughing right now, because 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 the fact that he made you trip. So he said, and a tone ain't shit with a sound. Like so he yeah. So he's a troll. Like I love you, bro. Like he crazy. He's crazy. So you're good. You're good. Let's just keep going. He one day you'll actually we'll try to get you onto the high council. You'll get to beat this guy.
Oh man, I would love
He
that. That's my
really
favorite one you do. I love
really
that
let
show.
us
Yes,
okay
I
now listen. I'll
swear.
send you an invite. I'll send you an invite because I promise you it's gonna be off the chain. We'll get you on there. Let's get back to this though.
Oh,
Let's
I
get
love
back to
it. I
this.
love it. Hey, thanks
So
for that little bit though of starting another conversation within the conversation, because that's a whole other subject that we can talk about in the high council. So yeah.
for sure, like we definitely gonna bring that up. So,
Yeah.
but no, I'm glad to hear that you were able to be embraced, for and found people that
Yeah.
would definitely, understanding
Absolutely.
of what you were going through. Um, with I will say this, as far as my culture, we know what it's like to be misunderstood. You know what I mean? So I get it. It's sad that
Yep.
most people who know you, won't like I don't know. They don't take you serious and when you need because they don't understand that it's not always like just because of your occupation doesn't mean that you don't have the right to for privacy or you don't have the right to whatever like
Right.
those things are unrelated. You know what I'm saying? So but it's crazy that this person was right next to you. You're giving them your good
Yeah.
news and they were just insistent on seeing you in this position of like just being down. Like what's so was this jealousy or they just generally don't what they just generally didn't like you or what happened? Was it you had features they didn't like? What do you believe is ultimately the cause of what made them hit this switch? Like what made them do this?
It's I'll be honest, I'm just going to throw this out there because this is no offense podcast and I
Oh, for
can be
sure.
free to say this. I I am the black sheep of the family because I'm Creole. And I'm the only
Okay.
one in my family that is Creole. And I think it was an embarrassment to this very religious, very whitewashed, very, professional, like pastor kind of, it was that culture. And because I
Uh,
didn't fit in, and I really have never been one who kind of, God, I don't know how else to say this, but like sticks to the tribe you're supposed to be with. I
I
always had
understand.
friends of all different walks of life, and my family did not like that. You
Got
know, one of my first boyfriends, oh, that went over like a
Did you
lead
have the black?
freaking
Did you have the
balloon.
black? Did you have the black boyfriend for real? Really?
Did.
Oh, so
And that
I already know what's
did
going on.
not go over. Yeah, exactly. So, in answer to your question, it was because I didn't play ball in the right
Right.
field, if you know what I mean. I didn't stay in my lane, all those catchphrases. And I really think that's what it was, is I brought too much attention. I'm
Yeah.
very, you see, I laugh. I mean, this is me. I'm this way when
I
I hit the
love it.
ground every
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, I love it.
I'm
Some
a
people don't get
lot.
bothered. Some people get bothered because you're just happy, and that's the
Yeah.
craziest part about it.
Yeah.
It's like they can't figure out why are you so happy and why are they so fucking miserable. But they don't understand.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. It's just that they don't
Yeah.
understand. It's because like yo, it's this is the experience. Like you might as well enjoy. Like we're here. Like you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. Like it's
Right.
so
Exactly. Like, why be sad sacking around the place all the time when you can just be happy with, get up and just kind of be glad to be here? And I think that had a lot to do with it to bring it all home. You know what I mean? Of what we're talking about, why this person did not like me, does not like me to this day. That's it, is because I take people for who they are. I'm loud. I'm like to laugh. I'm just I can't walk in the room and you not notice because I'm just bam. That's who I am. I'm a lot of energy. And I think that's what it is. Really, is this person is a loafer wearing cardigan, button down, kind of
Well, get off on.
lame-o, whatever. And I'm not. And I think that's all it is. So I don't know if it's jealousy or whatever, but it's all of the aforementioned shit.
You
It's
know what?
basically what it
That's
is.
real. That's really. You know what? Sometimes that bothers people. Like really, really, that's what I always tell people. Hey, listen, you got to light shine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't know how long you're gonna be able to. You might as well do it while you're still capable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
hey, what are you waiting on?
Yep.
You were given something that's to make you stand out. It's a gift. It never happens on accident. Where embrace that shit. Be the best
Yep.
you can be because you're the best at it. Like you know, the good thing about everybody getting their own experience is who's to tell you you're doing it wrong? Like if I'm
Exactly. Yep.
sorry, I thought like you like I get that that's not what you would have picked for your life, but that's your choice. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
That's your
you
choice.
know what I'm saying? Like stay over there. Like you know what I mean? So and I'm not saying
Yep.
that people don't make mistakes or people shouldn't listen to advice. What I'm saying is it's their life to make the mistakes, so to speak. And whatever, and how do you know it's a mistake? Sometimes things happen because something else needs to happen, but it can't happen first until this happens with your nose at. All right.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
here goes
I
some facts
totally
about
agree. Yep.
here goes some facts about stalking awareness month that I want to make sure everybody aware before we get back to the story for a second. So it's so over each year over 7.5 million people are stalked. I don't think y'all heard that number.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
7.5 million people are stalked each year in the United States. Each year, each 365 days. Like that's crazy. Most of y'all don't even know a million people. You know
I
what I
don't.
mean?
I
I
certainly
don't
don't.
know a million people, but you know what I'm saying?
I know.
I think I might have ran into a million people in my life, but like yo, and this is happening times 7 a year. Like this is crazy. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's stalking is often committed by someone who knows the victim. Like you were just talking about somebody who's aware, who's in your circle. And I know that's contrary to popular belief. Most people think that a stalker is like you said, you think of the shadowy black figure that's
Yeah.
just you never can make out their face. You don't really know their features. You just know they
Yep.
following you and why they won't stop following you. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
why
they're
they
like
won't.
lurking around, like Lifetime movie style. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
believe it or not, stalking by an intimate partner is the most common and it's the most dangerous type of stalking. All right. So because of this reason, January has been established by the National Stalking Awareness Month, and is dedicated to raising the understanding of stalking. Now, I'm glad that we brought this up because I don't know. Lately, it seems like there's this attractive thing to be what's called toxic, and the word toxic by nature means bad for your health. So
hmm
I just don't understand. Like I never quite understood what that was about. Maybe it's that fatal attraction type thing. Like people want to risk with death. I have no idea. But in cases where it seems like it's not serious, everything big start off small. Just remember that.
yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
everything big was one small. Just you got to understand. Like that's the way it's made. Even trees start off as a seed. Some of the tallest shit you
Yep.
ever see. You know what I mean? So it's you really have to take if you think you're in fear of your life, you need to take the proper precautions. I definitely feel like if you can, because again, you said 35 years, man. I can only
Yeah.
imagine
Oh, it's
how
still
many.
going. She's still out there. She's probably
So
watching this shit right now. Hey. I
so
mean, I'm not
so
kidding
you're
you.
aware of who this person is at this point.
Yeah.
Can we talk about like how did you discover that this was the person I know that's got to be a story for us as well.
Yeah. All right. So let me just kind of so in 2019, so I didn't know who this was all the way. I mean, all the way until 2019. I had no idea who this was.
Hmm. Your biggest
So I
fan,
started
basically.
getting, yeah, pretty much. So in about, I would say 2010, I started getting really sick,
Mhm.
like real sick. I started, I couldn't keep food down. I mean, I got down to like such an alarming weight that they were like, if you don't gain 5 pounds, we're gonna have to put you, the feeding tube thing in your side. It was legit. Like I was sick.
Wow.
So finally I kept going to the doctor, going to the doctor, going to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. This nurse And I love you nurses because the doctors all, I mean, honestly, they put me on psych meds. They put me on all this stuff because they couldn't figure out anything that was wrong with me. There was nothing physically, quote, wrong with me, nothing, causing these symptoms.
Right.
Finally, this nurse pulled me aside after the 15th doctor that laughed me off, to use the famous gaslighting word, that everybody uses now. She said, "Have you been tested for heavy metals?" And my
Mm.
reaction was no, because I don't live in a James Bond movie. I'm like, who the fuck gets poisoned? You know what I mean? Like, who is this happening to? So I didn't even believe it. When those tests came back, mercury, arsenic, lead, and cadmium.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
And
They were trying to
so
get you
that's why
screwed up.
my hair was falling out. Oh yeah, I was losing my sight. At one point I couldn't even walk. I mean, I really thought I'm going to die. I'm just going to die and never know what is happening to me. And by this point, my whole family thought I was just not, I'm
Crazy.
not trying to be disrespectful, but they thought I was just bonkersville. I mean, really, they're like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm not making myself sick. You think
Right.
I want to live like this?
Right.
So when those tests came back, that's when law enforcement got involved.
Mm.
And the levels were not high enough, which there is actually a level where they can
Yeah.
like do a full on investigation, but they were enough where, like I told you in our last meeting, I developed a social circle of law enforcement that believed me and
Right.
absolutely 100% believed me. Um, they started doing questioning on this person. Her
Mm.
answers were not enough to arrest her, but they were very suspicious. And
Highly
so they've had her kind of on their radar for all this time since 2019. She's very, very smart, very like Mensa level. Like she is like of the top, percentile
Oh,
intelligence. So
gotcha.
this, yeah. And so
Yeah.
because of the fact that I kept moving, and now you're talking about state lines, you've got all this, politics stuff. They really couldn't do anything about it. They really couldn't do anything. And so even though they know who she is, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't
Right.
matter. So it was funny though, because after I found all this out, I started getting better. After I cut this person out, I called and said, look, I know what the fuck you're doing. Like, oh, it was an intense
I
conversation
can
to
imagine, especially the betrayal of
yeah.
trust. This person's been around you
Oh
all
yeah.
this time.
Oh yeah,
Man,
I must have looked crazy at that point. Being on the phone, I mean, I looked just bonkers at that point, screaming, crying, the whole thing. You have no idea how angry I was. You can probably feel it coming through right now. I mean, I'm clearly still not over it.
just the emotion. Yeah, I can imagine the emotional like toll that takes like over the. I mean, knowing that you're not crazy, like that's the biggest thing. Because I imagine that hearing so many people just doubting you, and then like that you're experiencing something.
Yeah,
And it seems like the people you're closest to are just not. They're not willing. You're just pleading for them to just
yeah,
understand for a moment, just entertain the thought. You know what I'm saying? So that you
yeah,
can understand. And they've already have this expectation that okay, they're just dismissive. Like okay, there's no way this is happening and whatever. Even to the point where I guess accusing you of hypochondria. Like you're gonna make yourself sick. Like what is
oh
that?
yeah, totally.
Um,
It was exactly that. And I mean, it was crazy. I showed lab reports and I was like, what am I poisoning myself? And it was, I mean, that's absurd. No one would do that. Let me tell you, folks, being poisoned fucking hurts. You
I would
feel like you
imagine.
have battery acid in your veins every day. It is slow and it is painful. And I think that's what makes me so mad is that I'll be honest, being stalked to some degree is like being stabbed very slowly in public, and everyone is standing around watching and doing nothing. And I think that's what set me off so much. I mean, obviously the whole situation, but the fact that it was like, no, this person tried to kill me. And
Yeah,
if I
take you
had a
out.
scar across my face or stab wounds, y'all wouldn't be standing around talking about this as if it didn't happen. But
Right.
because you can't see it, you don't see bandages and all this stuff. But what you don't know is that I had to practically learn how to walk again. I
Mm.
had to learn how to, get myself back and healthy and all this stuff, but I did. And it's,
Thanks.
I think that's the thing, is it's like that should be celebrated, and stuff that I made it through this. And I love the phrase, when she tried to bury me, she didn't know I was a seed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? She did not know I was a seed.
I
So
like that.
yeah, that's how it all came about. Was 2019 was the year that it all it
Man,
all came
thanks.
full circle. Yeah.
Thankfully, you don't look like what you've been through. So that's that. You know what I'm
Thank
saying? And,
you.
and then the
I
other thing,
appreciate that.
no problem. The other thing is like, what were some of the things like? Because I'm imagining, like you said, rightfully so, you make your circle small. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
you limit the information that's being given. Because I mean, obviously, you don't know where these people are going to come from or who it
right.
is. So you limit your information. But it sounds like every time you got a blessing, this person just genuinely just wanted to see you miserable, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand how like anybody who feeds off of the misery of others, they're already in the worst place you could. They're the
Yeah.
worst place you could ever be. You understand? Because it's like, what kind of existence is that? Like
That's
what
actually what
what is
helps
that?
me sleep at night about it. Really, that's what helps me sleep about it, is that there is nothing that I could possibly do to this person that would make her life any more miserable than it already is. Just the fact that
Man,
she is her and has to wake up every day being her,
right.
there is nothing I could do that would be worse than that. I mean,
That's
honestly,
tough.
it's not.
That's tough. Like okay, so we've got um it says in case okay, never mind. I think I've already seen what I was looking at because I found this website that was listing this other but they trying to go off into some old other stuff. Definitely guys go check out share.stanford.edu. They've got an article on Stalking Awareness Month. It more so goes into like sexual violence and the whole thing about the intimate people because obviously this is what I was gonna say. Do you think that it's rooted and love, or do you think that it's rooted in hate? Because and then hate is a form, like I've always argued the fact is hate a form of love? Because to be so compassionate about something that really absolutely doesn't really matter, like like you
Yeah.
gotta have some kind of love for it. You're like nothing else in your life like if somebody was to call you by somebody else's name, like let's say, hey, Susan, and you're probably not gonna care or pay attention to it because it's not important to you. There's no attachment to it. If somebody call you by your name, something that has endearment, something you've been called by everybody you know in your life, what you answer to, all of a sudden it matters, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
just saying with hate, is hate a form of love? Like just to not one that we should necessarily accept. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
No, I'm
is hate
following you. Yeah, totally.
is hate some kind of misunderstood love by the person who's exhibiting the behavior? Is it some they maybe don't understand how to like focus or channel that kind of emotion into a productive what I'm saying, conversation? Or again, is it just hate? They just generally want to just see you miserable. Like what is that? What do you think?
I think it's personally, I think it's a combination of control,
Mhm.
because one of the things I did to keep myself sane was I went to school. Thank God for online school. You know what I mean? I went and got a couple of associate's degrees and stuff to kind of keep my mind right. And I learned that most like sexual violence and things like that, it's rooted in control. That
Yeah.
person needs to control somebody else. And I think that that's like you're saying, it's a hate, but it's all kind of rooted in, why don't you love me? Why won't you let me control you? Because if we go back to how this whole thing started, that was what set her off, was that I was
Mm,
not willing to be controlled. I was going to do
right.
what I wanted to, date who I want to, see where what I wanted to see, travel around, have a good time.
Right.
She didn't like that. I played music. Ooh, she didn't like that either because she always wanted to play music. Well,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not my fault that you grew up in a religious household where dancing was not allowed, music was not allowed. I think that's kind of the answer for me. I can't speak for other people, but I think you're onto something with both the hate, the love, and then there's that control kind of where it all meets up. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what
Yeah,
I'm
no, no.
thinking to my mind.
I'm definitely picking up what you're putting down from the way that you describe it. I mean, and feel free to, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But is this like a cousin or something? Because it sounds like somebody who watched you live the life that they wish they had. Is what I'm getting from
I
that.
have to be a little careful just because this could
Mhm.
very easily get flipped around that
I
I'm
understand.
slandering this person. I will say it is the closest relative that you can possibly have. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll
Oh
just leave it
man,
at that. It
that's
was someone
cold.
who got remarried, wanted another life, did not like the baggage of the past, baggage
Right.
being me. That's what it was all rooted in. So I answered without answering. Yeah.
You know it's
Yeah.
crazy. I have a similar situation. Not of the stalking type, but of that type of situation. And it baffles me. I try not to. I
Yeah.
try not to. I try not to understand. I try not to give too much energy to it because I've
Yeah.
learned to realize that we all are responsible for our actions. I know a lot of
Yep.
people want to blame like other people as to like, yo, this is what happened. I did this because you did, and I feel like the first time you say you did this because I, that's a problem because
Me. Yep.
morals
Yep.
are things that you stand on regardless of what people do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that those are things that make you. So if something that I do makes you do something, then that means that you chose to react to what I was doing. Like I'm not trying to gaslight.
Absolutely.
We just, you know what I'm saying? Is one thing I feel like I'm big on accountability. Like I'm the kind of person.
Yes.
I'm if I'm gonna tell the whole situation, if I'm gonna tell a situation, I'm gonna tell the whole situation. I'm gonna tell you about when I was an asshole. I'm gonna tell you about why you probably cussed me out and probably was good about it. But I'm also gonna
Yep.
tell you about why you were wrong about this part too. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna leave anything out because all of that is in context. Like if a person says like I'm gonna do this and something happens, it's all about context. You know what I'm saying? In the
Yep.
wrong context,
Absolutely.
it can sound like it's the wrong thing to do. But in the right
Yep.
context, when you hear full context, you're like, well, I mean, you did the best he could in a bad situation. Like you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
things change. So, um, I I understand, and I'm sorry that that person had that kind of access to you because definitely the level of access people have to you plays a big part in how effective they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh,
Yeah, yeah, and I will
yeah.
say just to make a quick point on that, it's interesting that even before the internet, the
Hmm.
fact that she knew my social security number,
See?
obviously, she knew everything about me, and so when the internet came around, holy shit, man, it was like the floodgates came open because there was nowhere to hide. And when the
Right.
internet first came out, I say it was like the wild fucking west because there
Yeah.
were no rules. I mean, oh my God, you'd make a post and people would be like, you know, it's like, good God, you can't get away with that shit now. You know what I mean? But back then,
Yeah.
it was totally acceptable to just completely flame somebody and, just make them their lives a living hell. Well, we have rules against that now. So when it's somebody that's related to you and they already have all that information, whoo, it's a whole
That's
nother level
crazy.
of crazy. I mean, really, it is. It's a whole other level of crazy. Yeah.
So
So I had to
so
interject that. Sorry.
no problem. So here's another difficult question if I could ask. I mean, and again, any of these questions you can feel free to not. It's no offense. I love the fact that you're open to have the conversation. So I'm just figuring we'd ask.
Oh, that's why I'm
Uh,
here. I feel very comfortable here, and your listeners and watchers and stuff. You guys are great. Like I watch, your stuff, and so I feel totally comfortable here. Absolutely. So
I
lay it on
appreciate.
me.
By the way, shout out to Marley Z for being in the house. All right, so we've got so let's say a situation occurs. This person has already shown their hand; they're willing to go to even lengths of poisoning you. Would you feel bad about this person going to prison? I mean,
Oh, wow,
like 'cause I
that's
know
a
some
funny
people.
question.
I know some people like like thinking, oh no, it's easy. It's an easy thing to say, but there are emotions that come with it. So this is why I'm asking: Are
Yeah,
is that
it's
something that you thought
well,
about?
see, my situation's a little different maybe than most, and here's why, is because when I was not aware that this was the actual person, and I would spend hours on the phone with this person. Obviously they were very close to me for a number of years, quite a few years.
Right.
Um, she actually made the comment she would be okay with if she ever had to go to prison. And it was an odd comment in hindsight. And I was like, why didn't I pick up? There's a lot of stuff like over the years that she
Yeah.
said that I'm like, God, how did I not get that? But she made the comment she would do just fine in prison. because she'd have all of her meals paid for. She'd be just fine. She'd be able to teach, and and so the fact that
Already dealt
she
with it.
would honestly be okay with the fact that that could happen and has worked this out in her mind of if I ever get caught,
Right.
life would be fine. So I kind of that's where I came to that conclusion of there's really nothing that I could do to her that is any worse than her having to get up and be herself every day because she's really that just crazy that she probably would thrive in prison. I mean, this bitch is like so calculating. She'd be running the fucking pod. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Like she'd be the pod boss and shit. So,
Yeah.
really, in answer to your question, I hope she never does go to prison because she probably would be doing just fine. You know what I mean? So
Orange is
it's
the new
kind of
black.
weird for me. It's weird, like the whole thing, right? So I've actually fantasized about having a conversation through the glass with her. Yeah,
Right.
you know
I just
what
asking
I
her
mean?
like, what the fuck were you think? Like, just like some of the questions that you got to list. Like, okay, so I was hoping one day that I get this opportunity. I got this phone book of shit I want to ask you. Hold on, wait a minute. All right, let's
Yep,
start the first page, shall we? Why? Like what? Like what?
yep.
Is that question number one? Is just like so? Like
Yeah, I mean
spend
that's why.
24
Let's go.
hours
I
every
want to
day.
go like let's go back to 1976 in my book of questions. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. Question one: what the fuck? Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Start
That's
from
my
here.
first question.
Right, right. So, man, so after you get this information from your friends, down the PD, and they say, hey, yeah, we're thinking like, we don't have enough to arrest him, but we're thinking that it's questionable. We look, um, how does your behavior necessarily like? Do you start to think about everything that had happened previously with a new perspective as to, or had you already had your suspicions at this point by the time they get to, you
I
know?
really didn't. That was the crazy part. I really didn't. I had no suspicions. And then when I found out, I mean, like I said, I feel really safe here with you and your viewers. And I'll just tell you, I basically dove into the bottom of a bottle and smoked about enough cannabis to fucking kill somebody because I could not wrap my mind around it. And so I
Mm,
would sit there with my cocktail, my joint, and I would sit there and stare at the sky for hours, thinking about every conversation we had, every offhanded comment. How did I? And you beat yourself up. I went through this whole cycle of self just loathing of how stupid I am and this, that, and the other thing. And it really wasn't until I just woke up one day and I was like, I gave her
all
so
control.
many years of my life that I'll be damned if I'm going to give her one more day of my
Good
life.
for you.
And so I just kind of I picked myself up. That's what I had to do. You know what I mean? And just realize nobody's coming to rescue me. I have to rescue myself from this. So, in answer to your question, yeah, there was a lot of self loathing, a lot of depression. Even when I went to the therapy, that did not work. And I'm not saying, hey, if therapy works for you, awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah, definitely.
me, it did not because people did not understand my situation. They kept focusing on these other issues. And I'm like, yeah, that's all fine and great, but I was stalked. And so
Yeah,
that's what brought me to these places. It wasn't the other way around. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, and it was just a real dark time,
Yeah,
really. And I had to rescue myself. Like, I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, in answer to your question, oh, every conversation from the time that I could speak until I found out, I would be like, God, geez, or I didn't realize that that was her. I invited her to my house, or, all these different things. And you beat yourself up about it. You really do. Yeah. So there's my long winded answer to your question.
hey, no problem. And listen, you got the floor. Like I asked a question, you got the floor. I'm not mad at you. You answered perfectly. So I mean, when they give you this information, you start to think back. Is it like all like I feel like kind of like when you're watching like Ocean's 11 or something, like at the end when they reveal the whole plot. Is that
Yep.
essentially what's going on? Like everything starts to line up. You're like, no, I
Yeah.
couldn't have been. But then you think about it twice. You're like, but wait a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, what is that? How everything pretty much fell into play at that
You
point?
you picked it. Yeah, you picked a perfect like example with that,
Yeah,
like the Ocean's 11 thing at the
yeah,
end. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it feels like. Is you feel like a montage kind of a thing where you're like, wow, wow,
yeah,
like now I get the whole movie. I
yeah.
get the whole movie. And I really was kind of in the Truman Show, to kind of bring it all the way back
Right,
to when it first started.
right.
Yeah, somebody was watching me the whole time. I really was like for somebody else's amusement. And
Mhm.
that's a creepy feeling. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's exactly what you described. Totally. You review everything and you get the whole story now. And yeah, you look back at like old posts that this person made, oh, just got back from vacation. Here's one for you. She posted a long time ago, this many years ago. I just got back from vacation. She's an RV enthusiast, so
Mhm.
she's travels around a lot.
Trouble.
She said, I just got back from, it was like 1,792-mile road trip. Very specific. I can't see that was exactly the number, but you feel me. It
Yeah.
was like a specific number. Just for curiosity, years later, I went back and found that post. I put in Google Maps where I lived at that time and her house. And she had
No.
driven to my house and was telling me
Wow.
this information via Facebook, but I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
In her
And
mind,
now,
y'all best friends.
oh, we were buds. Oh, yeah. And it was weird because you would think we would be close because of that. Like we always had a very strained relationship, always. And
Right,
like that's another thing. You look back and it's like all these arguments, she was so easily pissed off. Like I would just
right.
say like one single little tiny thing, and she had this like pursed way that she would, like this really specific angry face that she would make. And then I look back at it and I'm like, wow, like she really wasn't just like mad. She was like mad,
Yeah.
like
You
good
didn't realize how
Lord.
close you didn't realize how close you were until you actually like, you're like, whoa, like the situation went what it you start thanking God. You're like,
Yes,
yo, she was really like, yo, she's crazy.
he's
Um
crazy. Yes, exactly.
Man, that's so that's well enough about the past that she took, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk about how you thrived after you had this liberating information. You know what I'm saying? Now that you realize who's doing this, or you got this high suspicion of who's doing this, you separate from yourself, you start to do better. How does life go from there as far as coming out of the hole and redefining who you are and stepping into the sunlight?
It felt just like you just said. It felt like I stepped into the sunlight. And it was kind of weird, I think, for me, because after I found out, then like some actual death threats started happening.
Oh wow.
Um, and so I had to really come to terms, like if I walk out the door,
Mhm.
she told me she's got nothing to lose. Because when she told me the
Oh,
whole thing about prison, she said, I mean, this is how crazy it was. She goes, I mean, if things just don't work out and I get old and I don't have a retirement plan, I could just shoot somebody and then I just go to prison. And then that
I'd be
started the whole
concerned.
conversation. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
once I realized who it was and she'd said all this batshit crazy stuff to me, I realized this woman is almost, at this point, she's almost 70 years old. So that
Okay.
plan could actually come to fruition. And so I stepped into the sunlight.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it because I realized, like you said at the beginning, life is short. If she's going to come for me, she's going to come for me. So what I
Mm,
started doing was speaking. I
yeah.
started talking because you cannot silence me anymore. You're not gonna, because the more I talk about it, the less power you have,
Right.
right? And that's kind of how I live my life now, is that if you were to do something to me, lady, then everybody knows. It
Awareness.
may cost me my life, but everybody will know what you are, who you are, and what you did, and I wasn't crazy, and I'll be just fine with that. You know what I mean?
Vindicated, man. And
Yeah,
that's it's so crazy this is why I said this is what destroys me. Like if is it hate? Is it love? Did she do all of that stuff because she wanted you to constantly be spending time with her, expressing your grievances? Like maybe you thought about it. Like I mean, in reality, maybe it was you going through these things. It was you going through these things. But for her, maybe it was like, oh, but when I do these things, she confides in me, and it brings it like a sick
I
kind of
do.
twisted way of thinking. You know what I mean?
I
Do you
I
think
think
that's
it annoyed her that I didn't need her. Yeah, I think
Mm.
there was a degree of that it was like he didn't like my resilience. And I've always been that way. I was the kid that would fall down and skin my knee and go put my own peroxide or whatever on. I didn't, I was just always that way. I was always very
Facts.
self sufficient. And I think that drove her crazy. And also,
Mm.
I think it's generational because she's also of that boomer, no offense to any boomers out there,
I
but
understand.
she's of that boomer generation where women were to be seen and not heard. And so it
Mhm.
didn't matter what your goals were. You just got married and you just did your thing. And in her mind, she messed it all up by having something like me.
Oh. And then
She
with you being
didn't,
so outspoken and just going against
yeah,
everything that's oh wow. I
yep,
didn't
yeah.
that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
because
she's
oh,
gonna be on
believe you me, when she got pregnant with me, the
something.
whole family looked down on her. She was the shame of the family, and it took many years for her to shake that off. But it was actually I left home when I was 14. So
Mhm.
it was I was pushed out of the home. There was that. So when I it started when I was 14, I was actually on my own. So in her
Oh.
mind, she had like reinvented herself. You know what I'm saying? Like she had gotten married to somebody
Like
that
the
was
mistake was no
acceptable.
longer
Yep, exactly. She got rid of the mistakes, started all over again. But yet here I am. I'm me, I'm just like always out there and big personality and hey, everybody, and she could not stand that,
man. Well
she
we
could
well
not stand that.
we love it, Daphne. You are a
Thank you.
character, and I mean honestly, like I said, it's some people struggle with how to control a room or how to attract attention. I would honestly say you do that naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Don't let anybody kill that. Don't let anybody kill that for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what bothered her so much. You were just trying to live life and be who you are. Somebody who's
Yeah,
meant to shine. And she it generally sounds like this person resented you, and I'm sorry that she had to go through that for so long. I'm glad that she
I
have been able to
appreciate
break
that.
apart from that. And I think the world's gonna, whether she likes it or not, that thing she tried to hide is gonna be out in front. Like it's gonna be
I
out in the front.
appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? And it's very evident. By the way, you guys definitely need to go check out her music. Again,
Oh, thank you.
told
Thank
you, I
you.
told you I was gonna listen. I don't want to get the name wrong. It's ever what was the name of it?
Ever pleasure. Yeah, it
Ever
never
pleasure.
stops being pleasurable. Ever pleasure.
Man, guys, go check that on YouTube, man. I'm telling you, it is amazing. I'm telling you, I
Thanks.
was listening to it and I wrote her. I said, "Wait a minute, was that you? I thought I heard you in there." She was like, "So she's just it's inspired. It's inspiring. So definitely make sure that you guys go check it out." And I feel like if your stalker would have just put some of that music on, she could have just like figured out something to do with her time. Why was she? She was just so dedicated into like making sure that you couldn't be you. Like what is that? Like it's almost like she wanted to return what she felt like she got for having you to you.
Yep.
But I don't ever recall a baby tapping up saying, "Hey, mom, it's me from the ovaries. I'm
Yep.
just wondering if you'd kick me out, you know what I'm saying, anytime soon." Just, it doesn't work that way. We are a result, not the cause. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
it,
Yes, totally.
it,
And I
it,
keep thinking like she's wasted so much of her life on me. It's like, good Lord, you need a freaking hobby. Like seriously, you need some shit to do. I don't know. I don't
it's like,
know.
could you imagine what she could have accomplished in that time? She
Yeah.
like it's crazy work.
Yep.
Um, but we're hoping that she finds peace, something to do. It when you mentioned that she says all of those comments like, "Oh, if I ever got to go to prison or something," like it just goes to show you. Wait, why is there? Why is there? Did y'all see
I
that
think
stuff?
as you went like this, the little icon
Oh,
thing
did it
popped
show
up.
me?
But
Oh,
she
kind of.
but she did. You gave her a thumbs down at the right moment. So it worked. It
That's
was
crazy.
good.
I didn't know
That's
it.
all
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
even know it did that. That's wow. That's the first time it's ever did that. That's crazy. I was like, what the? Where
See,
did that come from?
even the show itself doesn't like her. It's like
I was
it's
like,
like
yeah, she
giving her
crazy. Like, don't
thumbs
do
down.
that no more.
Yeah,
Uh, but
right?
no, but no, it's you would hope that those people find something, some kind of love, some kind of
Yeah.
self care,
Yep.
and just do it different. I mean, she done wasted all this time. That's
Yep.
sad. It's sad. It's sad for that to happen for you, but you now have the ability to go and thrive. Speaking of which, I I actually just talked to your business partner recently, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
try to
Dave.
Dave. I'm gonna try to get him on the show. Hopefully in the first couple months, first couple weeks of February. I did tell him I need to
That'd
look
be
at my
cool.
schedule because if we had just started, I just started something that was taking a lot of my time. It was very demanding, but fortunately, that didn't really work out.
Oh,
So it. I'm not saying in a bad way. Like
no, no,
you know
hey, it
things
probably
work.
was for the best. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I have grown to have faith. Like I don't look at it like a mistake or anything like that. So I did I just wanted to tell you just in case he happened to be watching. Hey, I really really appreciate the offer, and I will be taking you on it soon to have you on the show. I'm gonna talk about your experiences. He told me he's
Yeah,
also
Dave and I both love you. Like you're so awesome. He was like, "Do you think he'd let me be on the show?" I'm like, "Email
heck
him."
yeah, Dave. Yeah, like listen, like so here's the thing. We do have open invites for the High Council, but the High Council, as you know, if you watch it, it's everybody, some people who get bothered, they probably gonna hear something that's crazy, and then we don't believe in the cancellation. I don't think you can cancel something that I own, but
Yeah,
but
I
but
love it.
if that is your cup of tea and it's your humor, you always invite. We love to have guests on the show. We've had Press Peach has actually been. He was the one that cracked the joke earlier about why you got to be a black sheep. He's been in the comments the whole section. He when I asked about if you would send that person to jail, he said send them straight to jail. So it's what I'm saying. They've been here. They're very aware, and I'm sure I can speak for all. Molly G's also on the show. He was here. I'm sure they would love to have you guys on the show.
Oh
Definitely.
man, I'd be honored for sure. And I'll tell you what, the compliment you gave me about my music coming from you is just it means so much because I love your music. I just freaking love it. I had to like
Mhm.
stop myself from doing this like at the intro.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that intro will probably change later this year. We've changed it about 4 or 5 times. I try to keep it interesting, but what I'm gonna do is at some point put out a compilation. Like you'll be able to just go search
Oh
Grove No Offense,
yeah.
and it'll have all of our intros and different
Oh,
verses for the
do
different
it.
songs that we have. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
So, in the spirit of making sure that people are aware, hey, 7.5 million people go through this horrible experience this year. Y'all got to make a commitment for me, please. Make sure that you check on the people that you love. Make sure that you know that they're safe at all times, like you would wish for them to make sure that you were safe at all times. And man, if they tell you that they're going through it, look into it. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, just look into it. Don't dismiss it just without like just look into it, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Uh, there's something there. There's something there. Last thing, I can't imagine somebody would just go out of their way to just demand all your resources, and even if they were like in her case, there was something there, like something wrong. You know what I'm saying with the other
Yeah.
person. So either way, make sure that you're looking into it. If you care
And
about these
trust your
people's pain,
gut.
yes.
Trust your
Oh
gut. I will say that to the victims, if you're feeling some kind of way about something, don't sit there and do the I'm sure it's all no, no. You know what's going on. And like if you feel it, trust it. So I just wanted to say that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you. It's just
no, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And any other tips that you might have. I mean, I'm just speaking from a third party looking in and watching, like, man, I can't believe. But I mean, for somebody who went through it, like any kind of tips that you feel or that you found effective on your journey, please share. Please share.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say that one. That's the biggest one. Is and if people don't believe you, I guess there's two. One, trust your gut, and two, if somebody doesn't believe you, they don't make your team. They don't make
Facts.
your team. End of story. If somebody doesn't believe you, they're not your friend. They are not your friend. Just saying it right there. Bam.
There it is. You heard it from Miss Minks. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Make sure you guys go check out High Stakes University. We're also gonna have David. What's his name? Right, David. Okay. From
David Daly. Yep.
David Daly from High Altitude University. Correct.
It's a altitude university and
Okay.
high stakes university. That's Dave. Yeah. Yeah. He's a cool cat. You guys will like him. He's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Facts, man. And listen, he gave me a little bit of his background. I guarantee you guys are in for a treat. Make sure that you tune in. I'm gonna make sure that you guys get the information as soon as it's available. And we hope that you'll next time you'll come tune in and bring a couple friends. We've always got more room and more conversation space in the comment section. And if we can, I'm gonna get your contact information, like a business card or something like that, so I can make sure that I put it on our website when we put your article up, so people can reach out to you. Okay.
Very cool. Yes, yes. And if you have any questions, anybody listening, feel free to reach out. I'm always, here to help. Totally.
Thanks. What's about that Twisted Reels Productions? I did notice on your LinkedIn you got some things going. Tell us a little bit about. Do you
I
have some
do.
time? Okay.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, like I said, all I have to do tonight is make nachos. Other than that,
Let us know.
other
Let us
than
know a
that,
little about this Twisted Reels Productions. What's going on with this?
yeah, so I appreciate you asking. I do high stakes university, but I'm the founder, so I don't really I'm not as much hands on with that.
Understand?
But my passion is Ever Pleasure, which is under Twisted Reels Productions.
Okay.
I'm trying to pitch Ever Pleasure as a full immersive show. My dream is to
Oh,
have it at like the Sphere or something like one of those big major venues. And so that's what I'm working on. And then I'm also working on 4 television show pitches that I have based basically on my life, like the crazy stuff that I've had happen, the crazy jobs that I've had, different stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of like creative projects, and that's kind of how I'm channeling what's happened to me. Really, is I do high stakes university. And the Infernal Sophisticate, which is an anger management business, but I don't do a whole lot of that anymore, quite honestly. But I
mhm.
do run those, and those are sort of rooted in self safety and helping people manage emotions. But Twisted Reels is that's my heart and soul. And that's what I'm trying to kind of educate people through with storytelling is what it feels like to be a stalking survivor, what it feels like to have jobs that are maybe not on the up and up, you know what I mean? And how that feels to not necessarily want to be there. I don't think anybody necessarily wants to be there, but you know what I mean? If you're kind of living a life that just doesn't feel authentic you. So that's what a lot of my writing and the show creating and all that kind of stuff is all about is I'm kind of just trying to show what I've been through and help people learn from it and empower themselves, really.
I
So
absolutely
yeah.
love it. I absolutely love it. Like that's man, speaking from a place of truth is one of the most absolute beautiful things you could do. You got an
Ah,
experience
cool.
to be able to take your experience and make sure it relates to others and let them know they're not alone. But also to navigate
Yeah.
a light, you know what I'm saying? Where they'll be able to find themselves. It's amazing. I always say, a lot of people say I'm a boss, but to me, boss means building other solid solutions. You know what I'm saying? That's
Ooh, that's
that's what that means to
good.
me. So is we got a lot of people who own companies, but then you got people who offer opportunities. So shout out to you. You know what I'm saying for doing that,
Oh,
and we're here
thanks for
for it.
that. Oh
No problem
man,
at all. Miss,
that's so
hey,
cool. Thanks. You're gonna make me get emotional here.
hey, it's no problem. Like I said, I just appreciate the people who take the time to be a part of our journey and giving us the opportunity to be a part of yours as well. Miss Minks, thank you again for coming on the No Offense
Thank
podcast.
you.
We hope that you have a wonderful evening. Of course, you're gonna see some of these clips. You gave a lot of great information. You're gonna see a couple of these clips. Don't be surprised if by the end of the night they're already making their rounds. But
Love
you'll
it.
also you guys make sure that you check out for her article in No Offense magazine to be released March 15th, 2025. I don't know why I was gonna go back 10 years. That's crazy work. But
Because we've been talking about the past this whole time. So
hey, I gotta
yeah,
go hop in the
thank you.
DeLorean and come back to the future. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. You're so awesome. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for giving us the opportunity. You have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye, gang.
All right, guys, this has been an awesome special. Again, make sure that you guys go support, show your love for Miss Daphne Minks, High Stakes University, Alcid University, and be on the lookout for the interview that we're going to have with David Daly soon. We did do an interview with Dejan earlier, who's going to be on the cover of the No Offense magazine, March 15th. So that was earlier. It's now available on our YouTube channel, and you'll see that article coming as well. I'll be on the lookout for the release of the cover once it's been officially edited and decided. So you guys will probably get that in the next week or so. So until next time, don't wait on the world to change. So you can be the one to change the world. I haven't missed no offense. You guys have absolutely been awesome, like you always are, and we will catch you next time on the No Offense podcast. Take care. No Offense LLC. The LLC stand for business. Yeah. It's no offense, yeah, we going in. Who we got on the show today? Might as well go tag a couple friends. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to blow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. We're trying to get to know it then. gain support from those that view and wanna see you win. We got the website, magazine, and radio. Be back up soon. Trying to put you in the spotlight so that you can tell your truth. Yeah, it's no offense to you and me. Ain't trying to sell no image. I want you to come on through and live your life the way you live it. What you say, you on your way. Shine so bright, they gotta see you. Pave your way and go be great. Make us say now, nah, believers. Hey, it's no offense. Yeah, we going in. Who we got on the show today? Might as well go tag a couple friends. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to glow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. Hey, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. Yeah, it's no offense. They said you couldn't, now you know you about to blow again. They working hard in case you really need to know again. Hey, it's no offense. Man, y'all hit that share button, man. Tap in. Special thank you to the guest of the show,